We thought it would be interesting to remind you why we are so bullish on West Africa. We've been building up our competitive advantage in the region for the last 5 years, and now have reached a status where I believe that this competitive advantage is unmatched. We truly believe that this creates a sustainable competitive advantage for our business, which will be able to reward shareholders for many years to come across cycles. From the stats you see on this page, the opportunity for the gold sector and Endeavour in particular in West Africa is truly exceptional. West Africa is the second largest region for gold production globally and was the top region globally for new gold discovery over the past decade. Endeavour's track record of successfully building and operating operations here over many years sets us apart. We are now the largest producer in each of the 3 countries where we have operations. We account for 20% of the total exploration spend in the region. Moreover, the $2 billion of investments made in the region over the last 5 years by our mines and projects has created sustainable value for local communities and governments, which now gives us a strong social license to operate. You can see here how production has been growing in the region over the past 30 years, from less than 1 million ounces in 1990 to over 12 million ounces today. While most of the production has historically come from Ghana, you see here that most of the recent production growth has come from Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, and Senegal. This is why we focused on these countries and are now the largest in each of them. We expect West Africa to continue to grow faster than other regions in the world, helped in part by the significant exploration spending we have planned over the next 5 years. Our competitive advantage starts with the region's significant underexplored geological potential. This is a high-growth region where Endeavour is exceptionally well positioned to deliver growth for our shareholders. Let's now shift to look at gold production by region. While West Africa is the second largest region now, with continued investments, we anticipate West Africa will overtake China as the largest global producing region for gold in the near future. Given the golden opportunity in West Africa, 6 out of the top 10 senior gold producers have a presence in the region. Given you might think that we're a bit biased, given our exposure to the region, we thought it would be interesting to also hear it from someone else who has significant success in West Africa. In fact, this person built the blueprint on how to operate in the region and today continues to focus on the region. Mark Bristow, who is now the CEO of Barrick. Over to you, Mark.
So West Africa is one of the most prolific gold regions. I call it a province, the Birimian of West Africa, and it's delivered more than any other region around the world when it comes to new discoveries. And, I built Randgold Resources on the back of the West African Birimian gold potential. When I started in the early 90s, it was risky, much more risky than it is today. And I've always said that, for instance, Mali, which is the very foundation on what we built Randgold Resources, has always been a country with risk. It worried me most, but it's the country that's delivered the most as far as our exploration success goes. When you operate in the emerging markets, and in particular the sub-Saharan region, you can only really prosper and be successful if you have a license to operate. It's a very complicated environment in which to operate, and you need a license to operate. And so, certainly we in Randgold Resources and now Barrick, we took us decades to earn that license. And again, we would never have done the deal with Sabodala if we didn't believe, and then encourage the onward consolidation with Endeavour. We would have never done that if we didn't feel those 2 companies had the ability to operate with a real license to operate in West Africa. I'm a big believer in consolidation of the industry. Barrick, Randgold merger started that process. I've been talking about it for years now. And then we led the consolidation of the Nevada assets. That's the Newmont and Barrick Nevada assets, which have been talked about for a long time, never really happened, to create the Nevada Gold Mines joint venture. And then subsequent to that, we had a number of consolidations in the industry. And Massawa took a decade to really bring to account. And the big debate around Massawa was, it was a significant deposit, but we had Sabodala right next door. And I don't believe that you end up building, the big mistake in gold mining is that we build mines right next door to each other, and we don't really utilize the capital base. And Sabodala had, it's got a fantastic bit of infrastructure. It had everything that you need to process the ore in Massawa initially, and then you could add a bit to it. So it made sense to partner with Teranga at the time and join all those deposits together and process them through one processing facility. The Endeavour consolidation in West Africa was always an inevitable occurrence. I've spoken to Sebastien, the CEO of Endeavour, many times over that consolidation. He started it, and I was privileged enough to be able to help Endeavour consolidate further. And now we have a real West African focused gold mining company, which really supersedes the Rand Gold brand. And Endeavour now listing on the London Stock Exchange again creates another significant vehicle for investors to invest specifically into West Africa.
Thanks, Mark. What has been great is that the operators in the region don't really see themselves as competitors. It is our common benefit to help each other out and to promote West Africa. Moving next, you see that within West Africa, Endeavour is the largest producer overall. While focused on West Africa as a region, given its highly prospective ore bodies, Endeavour is diversified across multiple countries and 7 producing assets. Our leading position in the region helps us maintain strong support and alignment with host governments on key issues such as security and permitting. We continue to view our host governments and communities as partners, delivering value for all. And we are well positioned to continue to support our social license through ongoing programs to improve the lives of employees and other community stakeholders in the areas of our mines. Our operating model is at the core of our competitive advantage. It is unrivaled because of the size we have in the area. Our scale allows us to set ourselves up in a different way to peers. We're not trying to manage mine based out of Perth, Vancouver, where it takes several days to get to site. We have a regional office in Abidjan, in Côte d'Ivoire, where our group support functions are located. From here, our teams are able to reach all of our operations within a few hours using the airstrips built at each mine site. This allows us to bring both people and critical supplies to site on short notice, as well as to export gold for sale in a straightforward manner. This system pivots around the mine general managers who are empowered to make decisions with the support of our strong group support functions. We also gain significant benefit from our centralized technical functions, which can rapidly share best practices across operations, most of which rely on relatively similar technology and layouts. This strong operating model has yielded strong results. On the top of this graphic, you can see that our safety performance continues to significantly outperform the industry, showing how we mine safely. This is often a representation of how well a mine is run. Despite this strong safety approach, our objective is not just to be better than the average, it's to bring this number to 0. On the bottom of the slide, our operations have performed exceptionally well, with Endeavour meeting its annual production and cost guidance for each of the last 8 years. This is very important to us. Our goal is to remove the operating uncertainty so that investors can reap the benefits of leverage to the gold price and our growth. The next slide provides some additional detail about our exploration spend across West Africa. A total of $5 billion has been spent in the area over the last 10 years, accounting for approximately 10% of the global exploration budget. In 2020, the region received more exploration dollars than all but Australia, Canada, and the US, which are the sources of much of global exploration funding, and as a result, receive a disproportionate share of spending. Given that exploration spend often foreshadows future production growth, West Africa has the potential to continue to be a large producing region, and Endeavour is at the forefront of driving that growth. Here you can see that the industry has been investing in West Africa for a good reason. It ranks as the first globally for discoveries, with nearly 80 million ounces discovered in 10 years. This region is significantly underexplored compared to other regions, which leads to attractive exploration leverage. Our stronghold in the region also positions us for exploration success. The key here is the relatively unexplored nature of West Africa, and particularly Burkina Faso and Côte d'Ivoire, which account for 60% of the total greenstone belt, but only 30% of current production. However, this is changing rapidly, with 50% of total West African exploration spend now targeted on Burkina and Côte d'Ivoire, where Endeavour accounts for a significant portion of investment. As you can see, we have a great position in two of the most prospective belts in the region, which are the ET and the Houndé belts. Here you can see our position in the Ivorian portion of the ET Greenstone Belt, where we have exploration permits covering the full 125 kilometers ET trend, including the ET mine permit area. Outside of the mine permits, there are 6 additional exploration targets already identified by regional scale exploration work and which are being evaluated. It was a very competitive process to secure these tenements, but given our first mover advantage and our operating track record, we were the obvious partner of choice. Next, you can see our permit locations in the Houndé Belt, as well as the recently acquired Wagnon area on the Benfora Greenstone Belt. Our well-consolidated land package includes 20 deposits and at least 8 identified exploration targets. This land package would be the equivalent of controlling most of the Abitibi Belt in Canada. I would not be surprised if in the not-so-distant future there would be a mine every 50 kilometers or so in this belt, given its huge potential. So, by being in the right region and having a good team, we've been able to achieve extraordinary efficiency with our exploration dollars, with more than 8 million ounces of gold discovered through to the end of 2020 at a cost of less than $25 per ounce. This places us well on track to reaching our goal of between 10 to 15 million ounces of new discoveries by the end of 2021. This was an aggressive target initially set in 2016, which at the time represented 2 times our depletion. But we wanted to bring accountability to our exploration efforts. Just as our operations team is accountable for production and cost, and our project team is accountable for CapEx and timeline, our exploration team is accountable for the dollars spent, discoveries made, and quality of those ounces found. Given the new assets in our portfolio, we are working on a new 5-year exploration target, which we expect to publish in September. Now, I just mentioned our project team. We have built 4 mines over the last decade with ET, Houndé, Agbao, and Nzima, all constructed on time and within budget, while also achieving 0 LTIs during construction. The region has been a very favorable environment in which to build new mines. We've had success because the geology is simple, the terrain is simple, infrastructure is good, and the region is very mining friendly. This means that mines can be built in under 18 months, as we have done. While a good portion of our management is French, which helps when dealing in French-speaking West Africa, we also like the region beyond the geological potential because it is a favorable mining jurisdiction. Collectively, the countries in West Africa have taken proactive steps to create a stable environment for investment. The countries in which we operate are part of an economic and monetary union with a common currency, stable fiscal and monetary policies, and a common central bank. The mining codes in the region are all stable and balance the sharing of profits between miners and the state. Because the royalty rate is based on a sliding scale based on the gold price, it means the governments are also benefiting from the current higher gold price environment. Lastly, because the mining sector doesn't represent the bulk of the country's GDP, this means there is less pressure on the sector as opposed to other development countries whose income is mainly driven by mining. This creates a good operating environment. To further speak about the mining sector within the region, we've invited the Minister of Mines of Burkina Faso to say a few words.
Alors, le secteur aurifère est le premier produit d'exportation du Burkina, surtout que Endeavour Mining représente aujourd'hui plus de 70% en matière donc, de production minière au niveau donc, du Burkina Faso. De ce secteur est un maillon important, mais aussi donne l'espoir pour les années à venir. Au niveau de l'État, nous sommes donc en train donc, de mettre l'accent sur la recherche. Premièrement, un investisseur qui arrive au Burkina Faso devrait avoir un bon mapping, avoir le potentiel nécessaire au niveau du Burkina Faso, mais aussi avoir une certaine facilité quant à la recherche. Et faire de telle sorte que nous ayons cette facilité-là de recherche. Nous avons mis en place un cadastre qui est actualisé, un cadastre qui est informatisé, qui permet donc à tous les investisseurs, une fois qu'ils mettent le pied au niveau du Burkina Faso, d'avoir une certaine visibilité au niveau des textes, au niveau du potentiel, au niveau du Burkina Faso. Deuxièmement, au niveau donc de la loi, nous nous sommes organisés de telle sorte que tout investisseur qui vient au Burkina Faso puisse avoir donc la protection nécessaire, qu'il sache que son investissement est sécurisé et qu'il sache aussi qu'il peut pouvoir faire donc du business dans un environnement gagnant-gagnant. Et à ce niveau-là, l'État met en sorte des mécanismes qui vont permettre donc aux investisseurs privés, que ce soit sur le plan international aussi, que ce soit sur le plan local, d'avoir une bonne compétitivité. Et au niveau du Burkina, le potentiel est énorme. Et nous voudrons passer le message donc aux différents investisseurs, à savoir que l'État met tout en œuvre pour avoir un cadre compétitif, pour mettre en place donc des mécanismes qui protègent l'investissement et faire de telle sorte que tout investisseur qui vient au Burkina Faso sait dans quel environnement il va évoluer et permettra donc de pouvoir développer le secteur qui a besoin d'investissements privés, que ce soit sur le plan local et sur le plan international.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. This graphic now shows the development timeline for our key internally developed deposits, including the Kari area at Houndé and Le Plaque at Ity, as well as the Fetekro project, where we are currently completing a DFS. In each case, we drilled the discovery hole during 2017, with the Kari area at Houndé reaching production the most quickly, following the award of the permit in 2020. At Ity, we anticipate commencing production from Le Plaque during 2021. And at Fetekro, a greenfield discovery, we've generated a resource, upgraded it to a reserve, and advanced to a stage where we will have a construction-ready project by the end of this year, leveraging our in-house teams and flexible plan designs, which are able to be rapidly modified to fit various project requirements. This demonstrates our proven track record of quickly moving from first discovery to production within 3 to 5 years. This is unmatched across the globe. We can move this quickly by leveraging the benefit of the mining-friendly jurisdiction, quick permitting process, long-standing partnerships, and of course, the quality of our internal teams. Here you can see how all these points come together to create the competitive advantage I mentioned earlier, where we have a dominant presence in the world's second largest producing region. Our scale position allows us to realize benefits from our operating model, and our teams have an exceptional track record for meeting or exceeding production, cost, exploration, and development targets over the last 8 years.
That's a strong case for West Africa. You heard it from Sebastien, but even from our guest speaker, Mark Bristow, CEO of Barrick. If you want more information on the region, I invite you to check out our fact sheet and our most recent sustainability report. Or, of course, by contacting us directly. It's been very pleasing to see Sebastien describe our resilient business. I remember 5 years ago, we were marketing with investors, we were saying, don't look at the portfolio we have today, but rather look at the potential we have and where we want to go.